Hello, and welcome to our crash course on imperialism in the Philippines. Okay, so today we're going to talk about imperialism, specifically in regards to the Philippines. Imperialism is strictly defined as the policy of extending the rule or authority of an empire or nation over foreign countries, or of acquiring and holding colonies and dependencies.
Pre-imperialism had over 43 different ethnic groups and 87 different languages. There were about 7.5 million people in the Philippines. That's a lot of babies! Holy cow! Oh my! That's a lot. Am I right? The Filipinos' culture was unique. They held traditional courtship known as harna, which held deep respect for women. The Filipinos made a living working in factories, industry, education, natural history, agriculture, rural economy, and domestic and foreign commerce. Because the Spaniards created laws for them, they didn't really have a legislator either. The Philippine Islands became a Spanish colony after it was claimed by Ferdinand Magellan in 1521. The Spanish began to colonize the islands in 1565. On May 1st, 1898, Commodore George Dewey defeated the Spanish fleet near Manila in the Philippines during the Spanish-American War. This victory led to the U.S. gaining control of the Philippines. In December of 1898, the U.S. and Spain signed a treaty in which Spain sold Guam, Puerto Rico, and the Philippines to the U.S. Americans were not looking for resources when they took over the islands. Some wanted to use them as a coaling station for the U.S. ships, while others wanted to educate and spread Christianity to the islands. Some even believed that the islands could help the U.S. expand into China. Some positive effects, however, include roads, railroads, and hospitals were being built. The U.S. helped Filipinos when Japanese occupied the Philippines, and the U.S. eventually helped.
However, there were also some negative effects, including 1. An extremely bloody Philippine-American War, which arose as a result of Filipino revolt against American rule. 2. Over 1 million Filipinos dying. Horrible deaths. Go. Furthermore, the Philippines being under control of the U.S. military until 1935, when they were then allowed to develop a commonwealth, yet the U.S. still had tons of control over the economy and government. And lastly, the Philippines being left without a strong leader and suffering economically. And now it's time for the mystery document. Why did the imperialists wish to subjugate us? What do they intend to do with us? Do they expect us to surrender? To yield our inalienable rights, our homes, our properties, our lives, our future destinies to the absolute control of the United States? What would you do with our 9 millions of people? Would you permit us to take part in your elections? Would you concede to us the privilege of sending senators and representatives to your Congress? Would you allow us to erect one or more federal states? Or would you tax us without representation? Would you change your tariff laws so as to admit our products free of duty and in competition with the products of our own soil? I'm going to say that that it is The Letter to the American People by Emilio Aguinaldo. Am I right? Woo! There were many different motivations for imperialism in this region. Economically speaking, the U.S. wanted to open new markets and trade possibilities. They also wanted favorable balance of trade because they needed exports to exceed imports, and they sought to expand foreign markets. Ideologically speaking, they had the belief that they were so racially superior to others and that they had a strong sense of nationalism. The U.S. also sought to spread Christianity throughout the region. Politically speaking, the U.S. had the urge to fulfill their destiny as a world power by colonizing and looking for fresh land to conquer. The Filipinos felt unhappy that they were being given to another country, but the U.S. believed that the Filipinos were too uncivilized to govern themselves, so they kept them under control. After the Philippines was declared an individual nation, the Filipinos thrived. More than 87 languages were spoken, the two official languages being Filipino and English. There was also a population of more than 98 million people. Religion was also very important to them. More than 80% of the islanders were Roman Catholic. Also, 92.6% were literate.
Bang, bang, into the room. I know you want it. Bang, bang, all